Rivals and On3 have updated their 2026 recruiting rankings. Did the Sooners rise or did they decline? Where are the Oklahoma Sooners? We're going to talk about that today. And towards the end of the video, we're going to talk about the visits this weekend and also a potential new target for the Oklahoma Sooners in the 26 cycle. So stay tuned for that. If you're new to the channel, this is where I ask you guys to jump in the comments below, hit that like and hit the subscribe button. Let me know you like the content. And also, make sure you're not missing out on the content. We're constantly talking Oklahoma recruiting, but we also talk a lot of stuff about the team on a week-by-week basis. Tomorrow, we've got a video about Jaydn Ott and the Oklahoma Sooners running back room, so stay tuned for that. You're not going to want to miss it. But we got to find out where our Sooners are at here in the 26 cycle. So Rivals are On3. They updated their rankings. And, of course, at the top of the list for Oklahoma, you've got Bo Bentley. Bo Bentley is heading the class with the 41st player nationally. He is actually the number 4 quarterback, according to Rivals right now, in the 2026 class. So if you're an Oklahoma fan, you should feel really good about the future of the quarterback position, knowing and understanding you have a top 5 quarterback in the class. I do believe, though, at some point or another, Bo Bentley will probably rise to a 5-star by the end of the cycle. 247, I feel like, is really high on him. I feel like he will end up getting that bump from both services. So if you're an Oklahoma fan, that's something to watch there. Daniel Norman, this might be a shock to a lot of people. He comes in at number 2 in the Oklahoma Sooners class. If I remember correctly, I think this might be the biggest movement for anybody in the class. He is the 159th ranked player. Now, if you have had a chance to watch him at all this year, this guy looks like a guy that could come in for Oklahoma and maybe make an impact year one. Now, likely with how deep the edge rusher room is, you're not going to see Daniel Norman a ton outside of maybe garbage time in the first year, but this is an extremely talented prospect. And just like 247 Sports, or well, just like Rivals, I expect 247 Sports to give Daniel Norman a huge boost when they up their rankings because of how good of a senior season he's had to date. Now, Jake Krull, I think for a lot of Oklahoma fans, this is a little disappointing. Jake Krull is at 174th in the entire country, at 23rd in his position, where 247 Sports has him at 61, and ESPN has him as a 5-star at number 22. Now, a lot of this, I do believe, is caused because of Jake Krull's size, a little smaller at the edge position. So when you look at NFL draft potential, which is what a lot of these rankings are for, if you don't remember how the rankings are made, it's where will this player potentially end up in the draft? It's projecting that far. Jake Krull obviously is going to miss kind of some of those checks in the height and weight department. Now, obviously, the height thing is not really anything he can control. Weight he can, but Jake Krull is an absolute monster on the field. And so Oklahoma knows they're probably getting a 5-star that is not a consensus 5-star. And that's okay because maybe that just means you don't have as many people pushing as hard to flip him throughout the season. But I think Jake Krull will probably stay just fine in the Oklahoma Sooners class. So Jake Krull at number 3 in the class so far. Tyler Ruxer at number 4. This is an interesting one. Not a lot of people have maybe familiar with Tyler Ruxer. He is the 4-star tight end, and he is the number 176th player in the class for the Oklahoma Sooners. A phenomenal all-around prospect. Again, another guy that's having a great senior season. This is a guy that I could definitely see coming in for Oklahoma and having an impact in his first season because the tight end room is in desperate need for help. So Tyler Ruxer is at number 4. You have Deacon Schmidt, the 4-star offensive tackle, at 241 in the entire country. Great prospect there, was a huge pickup for Oklahoma. And all of these guys I expect to get boosts in the 247 ratings. And then lastly, the last guy rated in the top 300 for Rivals and On3 is Matthew Nelson. This is a guy, again, that was probably going to be a late rise in the recruiting rankings. And you'll definitely see it right here. The 3-star edge rusher out of Bryant, Arkansas. Well, 3-star consensus, 4-star with Rivals. And then you go down and you look at the list and you're like, okay, well, who's missing? Who's not at the top? Obviously, Brian Harris is kind of down here. I think a lot of fans would have liked to have seen Brian Harris a little higher than this. For me, though, The shock here of guys that have not had a huge rise in the recruiting rankings is Nico and Bo Jandro. I thought they would be getting a little bit more of a boost right now. Consensus, Bo Jandro is the 993rd player in the rank in the country, 1,278 for Nico. I believe they will commit or they will continue to rise there. Now, the question is 2026 cycle. What's next for Oklahoma? You've got these guys that we just talked about that are committed. Oklahoma's class moving up in that department. Who else is there? Well, you've got two visitors this weekend. You've got Jacob Curry and you've got Braden Allen. Jacob Curry was the four-star linebacker that was committed to Northwestern. Remember, he decommitted, and he recently just got an offer from Ohio State. Now, for Oklahoma fans, you might have bad flashbacks with James Laurinaitis out there at Ohio State taking a couple of prospects from Oklahoma over the past couple of years. Jacob Curry, still a phenomenal prospect. He did leave the Miami visit uncommitted, so maybe there's something there. But he did really like his Miami visit. So if you're an Oklahoma fan, I think the goal for Jacob Curry is to get him locked down this weekend, get him committed, get him a part of this class. He's going to be there for the Auburn environment. Remember, Auburn is a team in his recruitment that you have to watch as well. So keep your eyes peeled on Jacob Curry. If we do not land Jacob Curry, I do think Oklahoma could potentially pivot in the transfer portal. Specifically, if you're looking at teams that already have the transfer portal open for them, UCLA has got some great linebacker prospects that Oklahoma could potentially go out there and steal and not have to be projects that could come in and make an impact right away. Now, Braden Allen, the four-star wide receiver commit to Tulane. He's a commit. He's not decommitted. So this would be a straight-up flip if Oklahoma was able to get him. Right now, he holds 16 offers. And since Oklahoma has offered, well, since he scheduled his official visit to Oklahoma and got the offer from Oklahoma, he has got an offer from Oklahoma State, and he is going to be set to visit Colorado next weekend. So if you're an Oklahoma fan, you again, just like Jacob Curry, want to see Emmett Jones and the staff lock this one down. You feel bad if he leaves Norman and ends up taking that Colorado visit. You feel like it's just lost from there. So Braden Allen will be on campus for the Auburn game as well. Those are kind of your two big ones because they're 2026 guys. They're well, one of them's committed, the other one's uncommitted. They're on official visits. Those are the guys that you would like to see Oklahoma hit home runs for. Now, I did mention a specific prospect that could potentially get an offer from Oklahoma, somebody that fans need to be paying attention to, and that is going to be Johnny Jones. If you guys remember, we talked about him earlier in the week when we talked about UCLA firing their head coach and Johnny Jones decommitting from UCLA. This is a guy that Oklahoma early in the recruiting cycle had a connection with, was talking to. He's the 122nd player in the 247 composite rankings. He is 6'7". I believe he's like 315 or something like that last time I saw. He's got 32 offers. If you're an Oklahoma fan, though, you have to be paying attention to Florida and you have to be paying attention to Georgia. Now, for Florida, you're potentially going to not have Billy Napier out there much longer. So that could play in Oklahoma's favor in this recruitment. For Georgia, though, I think if they still need another tackle, they could easily pivot right back to Johnny Jones. And with that strong relationship that they have, they could edge out the Sooners there. So I'm going to be really curious to see if the Oklahoma Sooners rekindle things there with Johnny Jones, but he's 100% a prospect that if you're an Oklahoma fan, you should be watching because they need to get another tackle in this class if they can find a good one. And I think Johnny Jones fits the bill. But that's kind of all we got for today. The rest of the week is going to be centered around team news unless we just have some recruiting thing pop off. So jump in the comments below. Let me know what you guys thought. And if you guys are new to the channel, make sure you guys hit that like and hit that subscribe button.